MG4 XPower Review. The all-electric MG4 XPower could well end up as the cheapest supercar on the planet, if the local arm can get the pricing right. You probably know the MG brand for its budget-priced cars and SUVs, but it's about to drop a global game-changer later this year, and it's called the MG4 XPower. That's not to say the current crop of MGs are in any way less handsome or lacking features that similarly priced rivals offer, because even the dirt-cheap MG3 hatch and latest iteration of its HS SUV look respectively decent on road with plenty of sales volume to boot. But MG Motor, which is owned by the huge SAIC Motor Corporation of China, has significantly higher aspirations for this storied British marque, which back in the day was a big thing in sports cars, remembering MG is a brand that celebrates 100 years in 2023. And, just to give you some scale on the world stage, it's the 7th largest car manufacturer in the world, here and now, and the largest in China. It's also a Fortune Global 100 company, ranked 60th, and has some long-held joint ventures with Volkswagen and General Motors and SAIC Volkswagen and SAIC GM, respectively. It's a seriously large automotive conglomerate with significant resources, truckloads of technological know-how, and a manufacturer that currently builds more than 5.3 million cars a year. It's also a relatively fast-moving organization that seems intent on shaking up the global car market if our week in Shanghai is anything to go by. Take the stylish MG4 all-electric hatch, which has already launched in key markets like the UK and the greater European continent to much applause by media and new car buyers alike. It's due to hit MG showrooms in Australia from the third quarter of this year, with thousands of deposits already held across 4 different variants, 3 different battery capacities, yet still universally affordable with pricing set from $38,990 for the baseline MG4 Excite, making it one of Australia's cheapest electric vehicles. Unlike MG's current range of vehicles sold here, which are built using combustion-engined architectures, the MG4 uses MG's dedicated EV platform called Modular Scalable Platform, which features rear-wheel drive and a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Needless to say, the MG4 XPower is different. It's a dual-motor, all-wheel drive EV rocket ship producing 320 kilowatts and astonishing 600 Newton-meters. It's capable of blitzing the 0 to 100 km/h sprint in a supercar nudging 3.8 seconds thanks to a dedicated launch control feature. However, there's not a lot going on with the styling to tell it apart from the standard MG4, at least from the outside, other than some very obvious volcano orange brake calipers, as well as a unique 18-inch dual-color alloy wheel design. There's also silver decoration kits available which include accents for the front bumper splitter, side skirts and rear bumper diffuser, but given we were driving pre-production models at SAIC's proving ground in Shanghai, it's too early to know if the same will be available on Australian-delivered cars, though we'd assume so. Interestingly, the MG4 XPower also gets a bespoke color, called Hunter Green Satin, inspired by the Sterling Moss-driven MG-EX 181 which broke the Class F land speed record in 1957 at the legendary Bonneville Salt Flats, clocking a top speed of 395 km/h. Underneath the skin, though, there are a few key upgrades. The suspension system gets recalibrated springs and dampers which are 25% stiffer than those in the standard MG4. There are stiffer anti-roll bars too, more responsive steering and torque vectoring software that talks to a locking electronic differential to manage the torque at each wheel. Even the MG4's XPower's regenerative braking system has been recalibrated for true one-pedal driving, notwithstanding the substantially larger and more powerful braking system fitted, 345mm/340mm versus 300mm/300mm for the standard MG4. Inside, it's just as subtle, bar a few upgrades like Alcantara sports seats with electric adjustment, sports pedals and exclusive contrast red stitching. We'd like to suggest XPower embroidery on the front seat headrests that would seem appropriate for this eco version. How much does the MG4 XPower cost? While MG Motor Australia has already confirmed pricing for its standard 2023 MG4 range, which kicks off with the MG4 Excite from $38,990 using a smaller 51 kWh battery, and tops out with the MG4 Essence variant with 77 kWh battery from $55,990. There's still no word on what the range-topping MG4 XPower might be priced from. However, in the UK, MG has already announced pricing for MG4 XPower at £36,495, which converts to just under 70,000 Australian dollars. Nevertheless, given MG's continued value for money ethos, we'd sure like pricing in Australia to sit well under the $70,000 mark. Drive away. The core MG4 range is due to launch in Australia in Q3 2023, with the XPower to follow later in the year. 2023 MG4 pricing: 2023 MG4 Excite, 51 kWh, $38,990. 2023 MG4 Excite, 64 kWh, $44,990. 2023 MG4 Essence, 64 kWh, $47,990. 2023 MG4 Essence, 77 kWh, $55,990. 2023 MG4 XPower, 64 kWh, $TBC. What is the MG4 XPower like on the inside? Even in the base spec MG4 Excite, there's nothing cheap and cheerful about the cabin. In fact, it heralds a far more polished, if not minimalistic design from MG, with all the latest tech you are likely to need in your daily EV. Nevertheless, the MG4 XPower takes it up a notch or two, with some nicely bolstered Alcantara/leather look sports seats. These are comfortable pews with contrast red stitching that would seem to cater for all shapes and body sizes. The soft Alcantara also extends to sections of the door cards, while the flat-bottomed leather steering wheel is pleasantly tactile and feels good to the touch. Interestingly, there's a center wheel marker in black, but instead of its usual top-mounted position, it's at the bottom for some unknown reason. The dashboard layout itself is wonderfully neat and tidy, using what look and feel like quality materials with a solid fit and finish, including the brightness. It's tasteful, if not semi-premium. The highlights, though, are the two high-definition screens that feature across the entire MG4 range. There's a large infotainment touchscreen front and center with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to make life easier for those with smartphones. Below it are a row of shortcut buttons providing quick access to the likes of audio volume, home screen and windscreen functions. There's a smaller screen for the digital instrument display, again with plenty of color, clarity and information on hand for the driver. Menus are accessed through flattened joystick controllers each side of the steering wheel, along with a few more shortcut buttons for added convenience. The center console is a stylish, floating type that simply houses a rotary drive selector, electric park brake and a wireless phone charging pad, and that's it. Completely and utterly foolproof for those entering EV ownership for the first time. Ergonomics have been well thought out here, with all controls in easy reach, along with sufficient adjustability all round. There are 3 seat belts in the second row, but there's only 2 genuine seats back there and no center armrest, but even those pews are suitably bolstered for better backseat comfort. You also get proper enclosed seat pockets, as well as dual phone holders on the back of each front seat. Storage space is plentiful, too, with oodles of cubby holes and an open-style compartment under the console bridge itself, as well as the center console bin, which is reasonably sized. There's also adequately sized bottle holders in the door pockets, 2 cup holders, front only, and a reasonably sized boot of 363-liter capacity, expanding to 1,165 with the rear seats folded. It's not benchmark, but the MG4 feels spacious enough despite its diminutive proportions, thanks to its flat, one-pack battery design, which MG claims is a benchmark 110mm thick.